Hi, it's the Irish Gypsy here to give you your March 2016 general readings. I continue to use the Gilded Tarot deck, drawing 8 cards for the month, 2 cards for each week with an additional card as your overall theme and general feeling of the month, your crowning card. As I always say, these are general readings, so if they don't apply or resonate the same with everyone who watches, I suggest you check your rising and your moon sign as well. Thank you, as always, to those of you who continue to watch and listen and subscribe to my channel. I love your feedback. I love reading your comments in both my YouTube channel and the ones you send me directly to my email. I don't always have the time to respond personally to each and every one of those, although I do try. But I do read all of them, so please keep them coming. They are most welcome and most appreciated. And thank you to those of you who continue to reach out for personal readings. It is both an honor and a pleasure to read for you. I remember each and every one of you, and thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to do that. For those of you who are interested in personal one-on-one readings with me, you can click on the About sign on my channel's homepage for more details and my contact information, and you can email me directly at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. I am doing readings full-time, and my turnaround time is around 24 to 72 hours, and I work very hard to try and accommodate your schedule. So thank you to those of you who continue to take advantage of that. So let's get right into this reading. This is for Sagittarius for March 2016. Sagittarius, March 2016. My fun-loving, carefree Sagittarians. What does the month of March 2016 hold for you? Sagittarius, March 2016. Sagittarius, March 2016. Okay. We begin with the Two of Swords, followed by the Four of Wands, the Moon card, followed by the Eight of Cups, the Queen of Cups, followed by the Five of Swords, and the Nine of Cups, followed by the Four of Cups. And as your overall theme and general feeling of the month, the card from the bottom of the deck is the Knight of Wands. So let's take a look, Sagittarius. Okay, let's begin. So we start with the Two of Swords, followed by the Four of Wands. So the Two of Swords, Sagittarius. Swords, the element is that of air, and swords is a suit that points towards our ideas and our words, our thoughts, our perspectives, the way we look at things, our mindset, our reasoning, and our logic. It's a very cerebral and mental suit, and it's all about what goes on up here and comes out our mouth. The Two of Swords is a choice card primarily. It's a card about making decisions, or actually about being at a place where you feel like you're stuck in making a decision and there's something that you really don't want to deal with. You can see that the woman on this card is blindfolded and there are two swords crossed in front of her. So Sagittarius, going into March, at the end of February, beginning of March, it feels like you're at a place where you're stuck trying to make a decision about something and that there's something that needs to be dealt with. Something's in front of you that needs to be dealt with. The thing is, Sagittarius, is that there's a strong air of willing blindness in this, or compliance in keeping yourself blind. You can see that this woman is blindfolded. She has a band over her eyes, and whether or not it's someone else or herself that has placed this over her eyes, she is the only one that has the power to remove it from her eyes and look at the situation or the choices in front of her for what they really are. This points towards, again, something needing to be dealt with, a decision needing to be made about something. needing to take action on something, but being at a place where you feel stuck because there's an unwillingness, there's a feeling of unwillingness about this card, Sagittarius. So it feels like you're entering March kind of struggling with something, kind of feeling like you're stuck, like you need to make a decision, you need to move on something, but there's something about it that you're not really willing to look at that would be of great aid in helping you make this decision and helping you deal with this thing that's in front of you. There's a reason why, again, there's an unwillingness to see something about this card. There's a reason why you're keeping that blindfold on. There's something about the situation or something about the choice. There's something you're not willing to look at or that you're afraid to, at least up until now, afraid to look at because you're afraid that it's going to push you or propel you into making a decision or force you into dealing with this thing. And it's as if, at least up until now, you've been in a place where you're unwilling to do that, to deal with this thing. But the presence of this card here, Sagittarius, means that now is the time to deal with this. Now is the time to take the blindfold off, look at this situation or person for what it really is, and move forward on it. This is a card that represents a really uncomfortable place to be. And again, the fact that it's come up in your reading for this month means that now is the time to deal with this thing. Now, the Two of Swords is accompanied by the Four of Wands, which is a beautiful card to have. This is a card that speaks of, it can point specifically towards an upcoming celebration or planning something. And there's an air of unexpected blessings, a happy surprise kind of attached to this card. This is a card that represents something that you're already working on or something that you're planning actually turning out to be better than you think it's going to be, better than anticipated, unexpected blessings, a happy surprise, something like that. And there's also an underlying theme of it benefiting or having to deal with home and family of some sense. You can see on this card that there is a man and a woman and a child standing in the middle of these four wands, and they are crowned by a wreath of flowers. It's a beautiful day. There's a general feeling of happy home and connectedness, harmony, wholeness, integration about this card. So, and again, it can represent the planning of something. There's an event going on for some of you. You may be planning a certain event, planning a party, planning even a move of some kind, because we do have the Eight of Cups next to that as well, which can imply a journey or a trip, moving away from something. But this card in combination with the Two of Swords, Sagittarius, I feel like you're ending February, going into March, being at this place where you need, there's something about, for some of you, this is going to resonate as planning something, planning an event, planning an organization, planning a move. I don't know why I've got that stuck in my head, but I think for some of you, you're wanting to move, or you're planning a move, you're trying to plan a move, an event of some kind, and for some reason you're feeling stuck in it, or you're wanting to, this can also represent wanting to make a move, needing to deal with something that you're hoping is going to bring about something happy, that has something fortunate, something, needing to make a decision or needing to plan something, make a choice, choose a path in some way that you're wanting to lead to. I've got, it feels like I have four different stories in my head. So this is going to resonate very differently depending on the Sagittarian that's watching it. It feels, Sagittarius, as if for some of you this is going to resonate as needing to make a decision. Okay, I'm going to go with the move thing first because that's kind of like echoing in my head right now. It feels like for some of you, you're wanting to move away from something and you're trying to plan this. You're trying to figure out how to plan this, but there's something about it. There's something about it that you feel stuck in. There's an aspect of it that you're either not seeing or you're unwilling to see. And you need to make a decision on this thing. You need to choose a path and begin to take action on it, because it's an essential part of what's going to lead you to a happier and more integrated home life somehow, something to do with your family in terms of this move. For others of you, this is going to represent, I feel like for some of you, and I think this is a smaller portion of you, this combination of the Two of Swords and the Four of Wands, I feel like some of you are planning an event around a union, whether it's a marriage or an anniversary of some kind, and there's some kind of difficulty in planning it, or you feel stuck. For some of you, this is going to represent, I think some of you are in the planning stages of a marriage. You're getting married, you're getting ready to get married, you're in the planning stages of the marriage, and for some reason, you're stuck in something. I don't know if maybe some of you are having second thoughts or getting cold feet about uh, uh, the the wedding itself or planning the organization about the wedding itself, but there's something about it. There's something about it that has you stymied. I think for some of you, you've hit a snag where you've hit some cold, where you've gotten cold feet about it somehow. Again, I'm getting move about this. I think for some of you, you may be in the middle or in the moving process, and there's a certain aspect of it that you're really hanging on to. It's almost as if you don't want to do this thing, even though, from all appearances, it looks like it's actually a good move, a good choice. This thing that you're planning or that I feel is already in process, but for some reason, you're really dragging your feet on this thing. but that it's but that actually making up your mind and taking action and moving forward with this is actually going to put you in a place that I think it's going to work out better than anticipated. Okay, I'm getting the message now that this blindfold for a large portion of you has to do with fears about something, but the Four of Swords is actually giving you the message that the fear, this unwillingness to take the blindfold off in regards to this situation, whether it's a move or a wedding, this thing that you're planning or this thing that you're attending, this move that you're going through, the fears that you're having, the unwillingness to actually look at it full on is actually a sense of this being in your head and not actually reflecting in your environment. Swords again is that suit that points towards our thoughts, our perspective, and our mindset. And I'm really feeling quite strongly now, Sagittarius, that the things that you're afraid about, the things that are putting you in a state of anxiety about this decision, this thing in front of you that you need to deal with, for others of you, it's going to represent this move, is actually unfounded, that it's not actually reflected in your physical environment, and that it's going to actually work out in a better way than you anticipated, that there's going to be some unexpected blessings and some kind of happy surprise around it. So Sagittarian, the feeling that I'm getting right now is to take the blindfold off, continue to move down this path, or make the choice if it's a clear choice you need to make. That your fears are not founded; they're actually not reflected in your physical environment, and that this thing is actually going to end up working out better than you anticipated. Yeah. So moving on to the second week, on or around the second week, we have the major arcana card of the moon paired with the Eight of Cups. So it's coming a little clearer for me now. It was a little confusing in the beginning. I actually feel, Sagittarius, that the reason you're entering March kind of in this stuck phase, or you feel like you have some fears and concerns about moving forward with something, marriage, an event of some kind, and again, for some of you, it's going to be this move. It feels like part of that, or the largest part of that, is because you feel like you don't have all the information, or you feel like the path itself is not clear enough for you, and it's putting you in a place of fear and anxiety. The moon card can speak of things being revealed. The moon card can point towards being in a place where you don't feel like you have enough information about something, or where the moon card can also represent things not always being as they appear to be. But in this case, again, I'm feeling quite strongly that this is related more to fears that are going on in your head and aren't really reflected in your outside environment. And the moon card can also speak of going within and seeking out your own intuition and making this decision, taking this action, or continuing to move forward on this path, that you really need to trust that sense of intuition that put you on it in the first place. Things look very different by the light of the moon than they do by the light of the sun. There can be a lot of hidden corners and shadowy recesses and dark nooks that, of course, as viewed in the full light of the sun. And I feel, Sagittarius, like, again, it feels as if you're afraid, you've gotten to this stuck point, you're afraid to move any farther, you're afraid to continue down a path. I think you've already begun because it feels too unclear to you, and you feel like you don't have all the information, enough of the roadmap in front of you to continue. But again, I don't see this reflected in your outside environment, and the moon card is speaking of, I think the message that I'm feeling right now is that you really need to go within and tap into that intuition and actually trust in that. Trust in your own sense of intuition and creativity, because I feel like whatever it is you feel you don't have, you're actually going to have sometime during this month or by the end of this month, because you also have the Knight of Wands as a crowning card, which can speak of getting a sudden flurry of getting some kind of solution and unexpected creativity as an answer to something. So I really feel, again, even though it feels like you're at a place that's kind of scary and a little fuzzy, and the path is just a lot cloudier than you think, and it's leaving you in this stuck space, again, I feel like it's not really reflected in your outside environment, but that you're going to get what you need a little further down the road within the month of March. Now, that moon card is accompanied by the Eight of Cups, which is a card of moving on, of letting go, of leaving. Cups is a suit whose element is that of water, and cups is a suit that represents our emotions, our emotional landscape, both inside and outside, and it's a suit that also points to love and relationships as well, how we view ourselves in relation to the world, the people that we relate to. The Eight of Cups can point towards being at a place in your life, or with a situation where you felt very dissatisfied, you feel discontent, or there's a situation where you felt let down, that things weren't turning out the way that you want to, and that you feel like it's time to break free and to cut on and to cut loose and to move on. The fact that this man's back is already turned to us signifies that you've either made the decision, or you've almost got to the point where you've made the decision to move on from something. But I'm drawn back to that Two of Swords, that you still feel kind of stuck in it. You can see that behind this man there's 8 cups on the ground. Some are upright and still full. Some of them are to have tipped over and spilled out. And the implication being that this man has tasted or drunk from most, if not all, of these cups. And while he may have found them distracting or satisfying for a time, ultimately he didn't find them fulfilling. They didn't turn out to be ultimately what he really wanted. And he has made the decision to cut himself loose and to move on, very definitively move on. He's dressed for travel. He's got his hat on, his cloak on, he's got his staff in his hand. He's surveying the horizon. This can represent, again, a moving on from something. And sometimes I think, too, from the appearance of the terrain, that the road ahead may seem, a little difficult and a little rocky, but this man has still made up his mind to move on from the place that he's at, this disappointment that he's gone through. And also the presence of the moon. The moon is a very significant indicator of our subconscious, our creativity, our inner kind of compass. And, accompanied with the moon card, which of course also has a focus on the moon, uh, this can also speak of not trusting enough in your intuition. The moon is also present in the Eight of Cups. And I really feel like there's a strong piece of advice here that bolsters the advice of the moon about going within and trusting your instincts, trusting in your intuition, Sagittarius. Whatever this issue is that you're having trouble dealing with, or something about it that you don't want to look at, that, I think that if you don't, it's going to lead to a block or a delay in this event, this happy surprise, this unexpected blessing sort of thing, that again I feel has some kind of strong connection to family or to home with it as well. It feels like you, almost as if you've made a decision, or you're in the process of making a decision, and you just got kind of paralyzed by fear and anxiety. You feel like there's just, the path isn't clear enough for you to move on. But the presence of the moon in this combination of cards on both these cards represents a very strong message for you to trust in the intuition that put you on this path in the first place, that it is indeed time to move on, because it looks like the destination, it looks like where you're going, even though the path may be a little difficult, is a very good, very happy place that you're going, or that you're going to end up in, and it's actually going to work out to be better than you anticipated. There's going to be some unexpected blessings, and again, some happy surprises on the way. And it's actually a really good sign that this man is already turned away. It's like the decision has already been made, but it feels like you just kind of got gripped by a little bit of fear there. Now, the Queen of Cups, right next to that, on or around about the third week or so of March, we have the Queen of Cups paired with the Five of Swords. Now, the Queen of Cups, again, that suit of our emotions, love, relationships. The Queen of Cups, queens like kings, queens are just the feminine counterpoint to kings, are in the point to individuals or the energy of someone who has reached the mastery or the control of their suit. In this case, it would be the suit of cups, which is all about emotions. The queen as a specific individual or personality is somebody who is a very loving, very nurturing sort of person, very kind of innocent and naive too, someone who could easily be hurt because of the way that she looks at the world, that there's a positive side to everything and that there's good in everyone. The Queen of Cups points to somebody who is rules from a place of wisdom and compassion. This is somebody who would be a wonderful wife, a wonderful mother. I sometimes get a little bit of a bittersweet feeling off of this card because she's standing there alone with this goblet, almost as if it's her cup of love, and she's not really holding it out to someone specifically, and she's not really clutching it to her as well. But I have kind of a waiting feel around this card. She's just kind of there holding her cup of love, holding her heart there, just kind of waiting to offer it or for someone to come and take it from her. This is a card too. I mean, the Queen of Cups is also a very, very intuitive person, a very spiritual, very intuitive person, someone who trusts in her own intuition. And Sagittarius has a very strong theme in this reading about connecting and connecting with your intuition to see what exactly your gut is telling you about this situation and trusting in that. Because the Queen of Cups, in terms of intuitive abilities, is rivaled only by, I think, the High Priestess. Very intuitive person, someone who trusts in the path, and someone who believes in the end that right always wins out over wrong. Now, this can represent as an actual individual in your life, or basically, or this can also just resonate as energies and advice to manifest these energies. Again, I'm getting a very strong connection about trusting your intuition, seeking out and trusting in your own intuition about this path that you're on, this decision that needs to be made. Now, the Queen of Cups is accompanied by the Five of Swords. Swords, again, is that suit of our thoughts, ideas, and words. And the Five of Swords is technically a victory card, but represents a shallow kind of victory and only one battle in a series of battles. You can see that the man on this card has just finished a battle, and he has obviously defeated his enemies or his opponents that are on the ground behind him. He has gathered up all their swords and is holding his own aloft in victory. But if you examine this card a little closer, you can see that this victory, this battle, has cost him a great deal. He doesn't look very victorious. He looks tired, exhausted, drained. This fight has taken quite a bit. This struggle has taken quite a bit out of him. He's bleeding from a cut on the forehead. And from the weather, the colors in the background, it looks like it has a very kind of gloomy, sort of grim feel about it. And this card begs the question, is it worth it? Has it been worth it? And for some of you, I feel like this combination of cards, Sagittarius, is really asking yourself if, I think there's a piece of advice here too, that it feels as if, let me just put these down for a minute and clarify what I'm feeling. I think for some of you Sagittarians, because half of the 8 cards that you have in your reading are cups. And I feel like for some of you, this could resonate as an actual relationship that you're trying to make a decision about, and there's a desire to really move away from it, although it doesn't feel like you're at a point yet where you're willing to take action on this. The Moon card again signifies that it feels like you don't have enough information, or you're just not at the point where you're ready to take actual action on it. Although it feels like there's a desire to move away, and perhaps that's why I was getting the feeling about moving away from something, because it's something that involves your home somehow. It's something that involves the happiness and harmony of your home. Um, but again, the message I'm getting is about trusting in your intuition. And I think the Queen of Cups is yet another piece of advice about trusting in your intuition. Not only that, but to come from a place when you're walking through this decision making process, because it feels like it's just something that you haven't been willing to deal with, to look at it through the lens of what the Queen of Cups, how the Queen of Cups would look at it, which is a place of wisdom and compassion from the long road that she's walked, and to ask yourself if continuing to be involved in the struggle and the strife and contention is actually worth it, or that if part of this involves being in a battle with this individual that you're in a relationship with, whether it's a love and romance relationship or a marriage, something that includes your home, is it really worth investing the amount of energy in the fighting and the contention and the conflict that it has been? The advice is to pull back and to look at it again through the lenses of compassion and love, and more of a sense of patience and trusting in your intuition as to what to do and how to walk through this situation. And really also to examine what it is you really want out of this situation. What is it that you really want that's going to bring you joy, happiness, and a sense of fulfillment? Because with this Eight of Cups, it points towards being at a place in this situation, whether it's a relationship or another situation, however it's going to resonate for you, Sagittarius. Again, it depends on who's watching this. Although half of these cards do relate to love and emotions. So it makes me, it kind of, it's an indicator, it's a pointer towards, I think, the larger portion of you, this being somehow around relationships. And again, I feel a family connection too. That there's just a sense of disappointment that the path isn't going the way that you wanted it to go, but it still feels like there's it doesn't look all bad. It still feels like there's a lot that can be salvaged there, that there's still a lot of love and nurturing and hope to be found there. Again, that Four of Wands I'm kind of drawn to says that in spite of the fears that you have, or the unwillingness to actually look at it because you're afraid that if you look at it, you're going to be forced to make a decision perhaps where you're actually going to walk away or sever yourself from this thing. But again, I'm just getting this feeling that I think it's going to turn out better than you anticipated, or once you actually face it and begin to deal with it, it's not going to be what you anticipated to be. It feels like you're looking at it through a negative lens, and that you feel as if you take that blindfold off and you allow yourself maybe to become a little more vulnerable to it, that it's just going to lead to more strife, more contention, somehow continued battling. But the Queen of Cups is asking you to have more patience and love and compassion around this situation, and also to examine what it is that you really want, and to be careful of what it is that you really want or that you're really asking for. Because at the towards or at the end of March 2016, Sagittarius, we have the Nine of Cups followed by the Four of Cups. And I actually feel too that this combination is advising you to not make too hasty of a decision based on being at a place where you feel disappointed or dissatisfied, you're bored somehow, or not viewing the things that you have in your life as the blessings you once did. And be careful about making decisions to move away from this based on what you feel you want right now or what's going to bring you joy. That you need to be more intentional and focused on truly looking at what it is you want to get out of this situation. The Nine of Cups is a great card to have in the upright position. It speaks of getting what you want. It's often referred to as the wish card, the yes card, your dreams coming true, of getting everything that you want, although it has a more earthly kind of decadent, sensual feel to it. You can see from the image on this card that this man is holding a goblet aloft in his hand, and there are 8 more in front of him, all full, the implication being that he has enough to share. He has not just everything he wants, but more than what he wanted. He has an abundance of what he wants. Again, there's a tangible, earthly, decadent, sensual feel to this, in terms of getting what you want, rather than, it has less of a spiritual, true love kind of connection to it. And it's paired with the Four of Cups, which, as I nickname a lot of my cards, I sometimes refer to as the boredom and ingratitude card. You can see from the image on this card, this man is reclining back in the grass. The 3 cups that are upright and full beside him can symbolize things that he has in his life that he maybe once saw as quite beautiful and quite a blessing, He's become kind of bored or dissatisfied, discontent with them. He's not really appreciating them the same way he used to, nor is he taking what's being offered to him, what's right in front of him. You can see there's a hand coming out of the sky, almost implying a divine gift or opportunity of some kind. But he just doesn't seem particularly interested or enthusiastic. He seems to be kind of very lackadaisical, kind of bored with it. It can represent being at a place in your life where you just feel like rootless, you don't have enough direction. Um, it's sort of an echo of the Eight of Cups feeling too that I'm getting, this sense of perhaps something is turning out, either something is turning out a little differently than you thought, or it's not panning out the way that you wanted it to, or perhaps in the manner and the speed that you wanted it to, and you're not quite sure what you want to do about it. Um, but again, there's a very strong message in this reading, Sagittarius, that you should really go within to really seek out what it is you really want. To be careful about making a hasty decision based on just for the time being, maybe feeling bored or not really taking pleasure in the things around you that you used to. And for others of you, this is going to resonate as just as having fears about dealing with the situation. For some of you, it's going to be a relationship, maybe a marriage somehow. There's a connection to family and home there somehow, and you're afraid that actually looking at it or dealing with it is going to put you on a path of separation or of moving away from it. But again, I really feel, Sagittarius, that it's not as bad as you have it twisted up in your head to be, that the things that you're afraid of are actually not so much reflected in your physical environment as you think they are. But there is a cautionary piece of advice here to be careful about making decisions, too hasty decisions based on the emotions of what you're feeling at this time, to really go within, to connect with your own sense of connect with the divine, whatever your spiritual foundation is, and your intuition, that somehow the solution to this problem, this decision making, is going to be solved or resolved by going within and tapping in your intuition and looking at what it is you really want and what it is that's actually going to bring you joy and fulfillment on a variety of levels, not just on a tangible, earthly, more sensual kind of level. And doing that, I think, is going to make the path clear for you, because your crowning card is the Knight of Wands. Wands being that element of air and fire, and the air and fire is a very dynamic combination. It's also the same suit, that Four of Wands. And knights are typically the bringers of the tarot deck. They're usually the ones that bring something back. When you think about the role of knights in the medieval world, they were usually sent out on missions and quests to achieve something, to find something and bring it back. And typically it was something that had everything to do with the greater good somehow. And I'm getting kind of a connection between that and the Four of Wands. There's something about this situation, this relationship, however it resonates for you, that indicates to me that it's not just going to affect you, that it's going to affect your family or those in your very close personal sphere. But the Knight of Wands is speaking of kind of a very fast and passionate sort of ideas or inspirations, a solution being reached through creativity, through intuition, through some kind of uh, inner inspiration somehow. And because there's such a strong theme about connecting with your intuition, going within to examine honestly and truly with yourself what it is you really want, what it is that's going to bring you joy and fulfillment, what's the best thing to do in this situation, that's actually going to make the path clear for you. And so it looks like it's going to be a month of going within, but it looks like doing that is going to bring about a solution. It's going to make the path clear. And once you do that, I feel like it's going to happen quite quickly. Wands is a very fiery, passionate suit. And fire is always a pointer towards speed and rate of movement. So I feel like once you go within and have the courage to take the blindfold off and really just kind of meet this thing head on, trust in what you feel, trust in what comes up. If you have little signs about it, pay attention to them because they're there for a reason. If you're having dreams about it, pay attention to them. There's usually a message in there somehow. And I think that once you do that and just kind of go into it head on, that the solution is going to come to you. You're going to get inspired and creative about what actually to do, and that it's going to happen pretty quickly. And you have plenty of courage to do that, plenty of fire and passion of your own, Sagittarius, because you are a fire sign. So this has been a, kind of an interesting read, not as clear and not as direct to me. It may be more clear to you than it is to me. If it does resonate for you, and I hope that it does for at least some of you, please, as a lot of you do, email me or message me on YouTube and let me know exactly how, because it's not entirely clear to me uh, what the exact situation is. But I hope that it's resonated for you, Sagittarius, and I hope it's given you a little bit of insight and clarity on the path ahead. It looks like all you really have to do is just go within, take the blindfolds off, go within, and look at what it is you really want. Look at the situation in its total reality. And I think the solution and the path is going to be made clear and pretty quickly when you do that. So thank you for watching, Sagittarius. If any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me, again, you can click on the About sign or email me at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. And for those of you whom related to this in terms of your own personal situation, if you feel comfortable, let me know. I always like to know how the readings play out for people. So until I see you again, which will be in a couple of weeks for the March mid-month readings, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life. Thank you for watching, Sagittarius, and I'll see you later. Bye.